Sunrise or sunset? That's the big question. Alright, I do have a problem that I need to share with you. I have OCU. Obsessive Compulsive Upcycling. And before you ask, yes, it is a thing. Okay, if I see an old pallet, if I see an old piece of furniture or a picture frame, I have to take it and I have to repurpose it, I have to upcycle it, I have to make it into something new. And you know what? Ever since I have made that piece of wall art from an old pallet, I cannot work out for the life of me whether it is a sunrise or a sunset. And you're going to say, Leggy, shut up, we don't want to hear about all your pallet woods. Alright, okay, calm down. There is a reason. Look at all the blues in there. See the way I've done this? Got you thinking about blue? Because we're going to talk about Bleu de Chanel. You know, I'm not as stupid as I look. Although you could argue it's kind of borderline. Alright, seriously, Bleu de Chanel, it blew me away, seriously, when I first smelt it. Back in 2010, I got the original EDT. Bleu de Chanel. Man, when everyone else back in the day was saying, oh, it's a bit ordinary, it's a bit generic, you know, Chanel have not used their normal Chanel-ness about it, it's just kind of ordinary. I was like, wow, I'm going to spray it again and get that same wow, because I do every time. Here we go. Oh man, for me, alright, I smell it, it just absolutely wows me, and I think it's the opening. The opening, you've got some glorious, gorgeous grapefruit, you've got a little bit of citrusy sort of lemon, and you've got some sort of ginger and some pink pepper, and that opening, man, of all the fragrances I have, that opening literally blows me across the room. And I go through this thing with Bleu de Chanel. I go, oh, that opening, I want that opening to be all the time I'm wearing this. Oh man, I'm absolutely wowed. And you know, the opening lasts maybe 35, 40 minutes in its sort of glory, if you like. And I'm like, oh man, oh, that opening, oh man, I don't want it to ever stop, and I don't really want the dry down. And then what happens is, maybe 40 minutes into Bleu de Chanel, the original EDT, that glorious opening sort of gives way to a sort of a dry down, and in the dry down, you've got a little bit of patchouli for sweetness, you've got some cedar wood, you've got some sandalwood, and you've got some very sort of Chanel, sort of musk and some vanilla. And you know what? I do this every time. When it goes into the dry down, I'm kind of really missing the opening, and when the dry down comes, I'm like, man, the dry down is as good as the opening. And I go through those emotions every time I wear this. It is absolutely crazy. You know what, when I first smelt this, I thought, you know what, you could just use this every day. It's absolutely stunning. It's a polite sort of fragrance. It's not rogue in any kind of way. It's a bit of a crowd pleaser. And I thought, you know what, if you're going to the gym, yeah, this one. If you're going to work, this one. If you're going to the office, yeah, Bleu de Chanel. If you're going to the place of worship, definitely, yeah. If you're going on a date night, Bleu de Chanel. If you're going out with mates, Bleu de Chanel. Seriously, this will just do any setting, any season, anywhere. And this will get you compliments, especially during its first sort of 2 hours, where it does sort of radiate off you nicely. I'm not going to use the word strong projection, it isn't, but it does gently radiate off you. It leaves a scent memory trail, and this is absolutely glorious. 2010, oh man, beautiful. You know, it's the iconic magnetic cap. What can possibly go wrong with Bleu de Chanel? Nothing really. It is just all day, every day, wow. About 2014, Chanel, who had been quiet for quite a long time before the launch in 2010, you know, there hadn't been many new releases, and to be fair, if you think about it, since 2010 they have also been quiet. Yes, there's a few flankers of Bleu de Chanel, we'll talk about that in a second, but realistically Chanel have been quiet before and after Bleu de Chanel. It's almost like, you know, that's their sort of final sort of wow sort of thing. Alright, 2014 saw the launch of the Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum, and I went out and bought it, and this is what happened when I sprayed it. Right. This one is mesmerising because you've definitely got the DNA, the sort of really bright opening has sort of been sort of shaved off a little bit, but what they've done is they've put a lot of amber in the base, and the amber in the base sort of starts almost at the start. It is absolutely crazy. Yes, you've still got the sort of citrusy bits at the top, you've still got the sort of floral, the jasmine I think it is in the middle like the original EDT, but the amber and the vanilla at the base, I forgot to mention there's also incense which makes this special as well. That's still in there, but the amber does sort of almost dominate in the eau de parfum. But the crazy thing is, on my skin, for me, this one is the one I've stuck with. This one is the one I go to so often, because the performance on this on my skin, I get a solid sort of 3 hours of a very nice sort of scent bubble sort of projection. I get a lot of memory trail coming off me, and realistically this is almost an all-day fragrance because it does dip down over time, but realistically as a wearer I could still smell it into the evening. Absolutely crazy. There is another one which I don't have a bottle of. I've smelt it, and potentially for me it was maybe slightly better than these two, the original EDT and the Eau de Parfum. It's called just Bleu de Chanel Parfum, and whilst the smell was maybe has the edge over these two, it didn't really go very far on my skin, which for me was a disappointment, because this is, I mean, we're not talking about cheap fragrances. The EDT, which is still available, is around about £100 for 100ml. The Eau de Parfum is just a smidgen over £100 for 100ml. And the perfume is about £115, £120 for the 100ml. So none of these are cheap fragrances. But what I will say to you is that they are high quality fragrances. You walk past someone and you are wearing any of the versions of Bleu de Chanel, seriously, they know you have spent some seriously good money, because it smells like a Chanel. All right, don't listen to anyone who tells you it's for generic and it just smells like a shower gel. Trust me, these are high quality smells, long lasting, decent sort of projection, and they do smell absolutely amazing for any situation and any day. But as I said, they're not cheap fragrances. So what are we going to do? Save up? Skint ourselves to buy the real thing? Because the thing is, Bleu de Chanel is absolutely perfect every day. So if you say, you know what, I just want sort of an easy fragrance that I can pretty much wear every day to the office, to the workplace, whatever, you're going to get through a lot of money if you keep buying the Chanel. Is there an option, Leggy? Let me think. There's a few options. But I've come across one recently which has impressed me, although there are a few downsides, and we'll come to that in a moment. So we're talking about Lattafa. Okay? Well, it's their branch. It's Lattafa's branch of Maison Alhambra, and it's called, bit cheesy, Bleu de Chanel. Okay. Forget the name, it's a little bit sad. And I tell you what, it doesn't have a magnetic cap. Forget it. No way. Right, this cost me 16 British pounds on eBay. 100ml Eau de Parfum, and it's made eventually by Lattafa. It's their branch, Maison Alhambra. Okay. I need some more skin to spray this one. Sleeves up, okay, sleeves up. So let's spray it. Okay, I have a few of these Maison Alhambras by Lattafa, and pretty much all of them have a very chemical, alcoholic start. Okay, most of them are under 20 British pounds, so you kind of forgive that start. And I've got to be honest, if it stayed like that, that would be going in the recycle, complete with the fluid in there. Okay. But what does happen is the sort of alcoholic chemical, after around about 10 minutes, that goes. What I will say to you, and I will warn you, is it does not smell exactly like Bleu de Chanel. Right, it does not have the depth of the original. It doesn't have the quality of the original. Okay, I'm unlocking it. Right, just give me a minute. Okay, the chemical is just starting to give way to the fragrance. Okay, please do not judge this fragrance in its first 10 minutes, because its first 10 minutes is a chemical mess. I'm trying to get through the chemical. I do know this fragrance, I've worn it a lot. Right, yes, the grapefruit is there. Yes, the sort of nice citrusy opening, the ginger. You're going to get the vanilla. The patchouli's there. Alright. And the musk. Well, not much musk in this one, to be fair. Alright. It is very, very obviously Bleu de Chanel. Okay. So in that respect, great. But what I will say to you, and this happens every time I wear it, for the first half an hour, it could be anything. It's kind of trying to sort itself out. What happens is, after 10 minutes, the alcoholic sort of mess dissipates. And after 30 minutes, it settles down, and it is actually quite true to Bleu de Chanel. I'm not saying it's a one-on-one, but it is really obvious. And I'll tell you, all right, let me tell you an example. So my neighbour Nathan, he has Bleu de Chanel. I don't know which one he has. I think it might be the EDT. And I sprayed this for him, and he went, oh, that's Bleu de Chanel. All right, he had sort of seen the bottle, but he said to me, oh yeah, I got that, Leggy. That is definitely Bleu de Chanel. And he's familiar with it. I say he has one of the versions. All right, it is very, very good at being Bleu de Chanel. But here's the thing. It lacks the quality, it lacks the depth and all that lot, but for £16, hey, who cares? What I will say to you is, it's a very, very pale version of Bleu de Chanel. Okay, what do I mean by that? Alright, I mean by that, it is Bleu de Chanel, but it's kind of like a distant Bleu de Chanel. Do I mean it's bad performance? No, I actually, let's talk about the performance in fact. Come on, Leggy, get yourself together. Right, okay. The performance on this, for solid 4 hours, you have a nice close scent bubble. I'm not going to use the word massive projection. I'm going to say gentle radiation. It does leave a bit of a trail within the first sort of 40 minutes to an hour. But for the 4 hours, you can smell this fragrance all the time, and this one gets better the longer it is on your skin. And I think that's the alcoholic sort of whatever base that they use has definitely gone. You get it on clothes and it's pretty much there all day. All right, skin pretty much all day. I will say it, I've said this before, I've said it about 5 times, come on Leggy, it does lack the richness and the depth and the quality of Bleu de Chanel. But alright, let's say £16, 100ml, £100, 100ml. Okay. In terms of the price, this ticks every box. In terms of the performance, you know what? I'm going to say I am satisfied with the performance for the amount of money you spend on it. And in terms of the smell, yes, it is very, very, you know what, actually, I'm going to say this has improved just as I've been waffling, and I've only been waffling for about 15 minutes. I know it sounds like about an hour. But no, seriously, this has improved in that time. Now you're going to say to me, Leggy, where does this sit in terms of the EDT, the eau de parfum, or the perfume? Right, it is closer to... No, I'm going to say it's kind of like a hybrid of all three. It's not quite the EDT, it's not quite the EDP, and I say I'm working on memory because I don't have the perfume. It's not quite the perfume, in fact it's nowhere near the perfume. It is closer to the EDP, the eau de parfum, okay? So would I recommend it? I actually would, because I think £16 is absolutely incredible for what this does. Okay, it would fool most people that you are wearing Bleu de Chanel. So is that a good thing? That's a fantastic thing. So I'm sorry this has gone on for quite some time, but I hope I've given you enough information, enough heads up and enough thoughts as to whether you may purchase this. Personally, £16. Just purchase it. You will not be disappointed, even if you're a massive fan of Bleu de Chanel, because it does become Bleu de Chanel over time. Yeah, it's there now. Okay, do it. Right, please don't see me as a professional. Don't see me as someone who's making money out of YouTube. I'm just a crazy, seriously crazy random guy with two things. I want to share fragrances with you, and I want to inspire you to wear a good fragrance every single day. And if I can do that, my job's done. I'm going to love you and leave you now, but before I go, please promise me that you'll let me a comment. You'll leave me a comment and let me know whether this is a sunrise or a sunset. No, seriously, Leggy, shut up about the palette, son. Please promise me that you are going to spray a good fragrance every day, keep the smile on the face, and come up for the next one. Thank you very much, and goodbye.